Good morning, everybody. We've come to the end of another week. All right, Hebrews chapter 13. This is kind of his wrap-up chapter to the book. It's the last chapter in Hebrews, and he touches on a hodgepodge of issues, okay? It's like you've written this long theological treatise. Chapters 11 and 12, he encourages and challenges them. And then in chapter 13, there's just some practical things he wants to say. And what stood out to me was some of the things he said in the first few verses that I kind of defined as character issues, lifestyle issues for us as believers, as followers of Jesus. So notice he says in verse 2, do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for by this some have entertained angels without knowing it. We usually focus on, well, that stranger could be an angel, but what I want us to focus on this morning is the first part of the verse where he simply says, do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers. The Bible places a focus on treating strangers, people you don't know, well. As a culture, as a company, as a country, rather, we should be welcoming. As a church family, we should be welcoming. You know, the old stories about churches, somebody new would show up and a long-term church member walk into the sanctuary and that new person they didn't know sitting in their seat and they'd go up and say, I'm sorry, but that's my seat. That's the opposite of verse 2. That's not showing hospitality. That's being selfish. That's being rude. There's nothing hospitable about that. You know, the most welcoming place on earth should be the church. Your Sunday school class, your life group. Show hospitality to strangers. And as believers, when we're out there in the public, we're at the grocery store, the drug store, the DMV, wherever we're at, show hospitality to strangers. It also involves hospitality in the Bible is more than just being nice. Hospitality means you let people, you help people. You put people up for a night if they need it. You give people food. You help them. That's one of the characteristics and lifestyle of a believer. Verse 3, remember the prisoners. Yeah. Not just lock them up, throw away the key and forget about them, but care about how they are treated. Minister to them, love them. And then he goes on in verse 3, those who are ill-treated. Those in our society and culture who are weak, who are powerless, who are taken advantage of, who struggle with generational issues to dig out from under all kinds of stuff. People who are persecuted, people who are ridiculed, people who are looked down on, people who are ill-treated. Another thing about the character and the lifestyle of a disciple of Jesus is found in verse 4. He says, marriage is to be held in honor among all. And the marriage bed is to be undefiled. For fornicators and adulterers, God will judge. Adultery, you know what that is. Fornicating, sex between people who are not married. The marriage bed is a sacred place. Marriage is a sacred institution that is to be honored. Our culture does not do that, and unfortunately, too many of us in church don't honor it either. And it is amazing how many people going through marriage problems or divorce are already dating someone else, taking trips to sleep with someone else that's not their husband, not their wife, while they are still married. And that's not what disciples of Jesus do. Another thing is verse 5. Make sure that your character is free from the love of money, being content with what you have. For he himself has said, I will never desert you, nor will I forsake you. Now that's interesting. Why in a verse where he talks about financial contentment, not being materialistic, not having a love for money that drives you and consumes you, why in that same verse does he talk about the fact that Jesus has promised, I'm never going to leave you? It's because contentment in life is found in an intimate, authentic, genuine, growing, life-changing, obedient relationship with Jesus Christ, not in stuff. He's never going to leave us, but amazingly, quite often we leave him as we pursue and chase all this other stuff, only to discover that it doesn't satisfy the deepest things in our soul. But Jesus can. So, characteristics, the lifestyle of a believer: hospitality towards strangers, helping people, remembering prisoners, caring for them, ministering to people, supporting people, helping people who are ill-treated and outcast. Marriage, honoring it, being faithful, being faithful, being faithful. And loving Jesus more than you love stuff. Pursuing Jesus more than you pursue stuff. That's the lifestyle of somebody devoted to Jesus Christ. Just some thoughts from this neat chapter 13. Hey, be in church Sunday. Leanna Crawford leading worship. I'll be preaching, and the women's event this Saturday. Ladies, show up for that. You're going to be blessed. And then I'll see you Monday with another devotion. Let's see here. Monday we just finished up Hebrews, and in our Bible reading plan, hey guys, Psalm chapter 1, the first Psalm. That's Monday. I'll see you then.